call the meeting to order. And we'll take roll call. Vandenbrink.
Here.
Page.
Here.
Enke.
Here.
Krieger.
Here.
Iverson.
Here.
Sorensen. Here. Gadsky is excused because he's sick. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Gary.
Second.
Thank you, Tom. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't see, you guys don't want to talk over there in the peanut gallery. You just want to film us, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. No public comment. And the secretary's report. You should have a copy of the minutes.
There's a spelling error.
Where,
Minutes for last month.
where is it?
Police Chief Wallner, not Waller.
Oh,
God, I thought we caught everything.
That was the only one I saw.
Okay.
okay, where was that at?
It's in the
first
present.
one, in the, yep.
Oh. You know, sometimes spell correct just makes that change and I don't catch it.
Yep, I can see it sometimes.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Okay, Mark.
Second.
Thank you, Tom. You're just on it tonight. If there is no more discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, treasurer's report. Heather sent out three different actuals for 24. I'm trying to figure out if one is cash and one is accrual.
Yes, it appears so. On the bottom of page one says cash basis and the other one says accrual.
Mine both say accrual, so I printed out the wrong, I printed out the same one twice. I don't think she had, you notice that there is a deficit, but she hasn't moved all the money over that she's supposed to move over. If you look, the budget for fund balance we were gonna move hasn't been moved. And interest income has not been applied. So that deficit of $21,000 is not a true deficit because she hasn't plugged in the interest, or we will not be moving that, all of the 38,000, it'll be to balance out that deficit. So it looks like we did okay.
Yeah, that was my note on it, to be, you know, a little bit over, a little bit under with a balance of carry and not having to move an entire balance
Right.
over for the, you know, few, it seems like we're on the right track.
I think so, because I think it'll be less than 20, it'll be about 20,000 instead of close to 40,000 that we're moving over. That's good news. And I suspect the interest income may be higher than $500. And she could not be here with us tonight because she's at a, is it a basketball game?
Yeah, her son plays up at Fox Valley Lutheran.
She said soccer when I talked to her, and I kind of, we have indoor soccer?
Probably not. It's basketball.
I think you're right. And then we didn't have anybody retire and do a payout this year, so I'm looking at the firefighter fund, that's for, so we didn't expend that money at all. Nor did we do advertising.
Are we looking for a motion to?
Well, I don't think we're quite finished,
Okay,
because we've got the bills and applied payments for
Right.
December, and I know Gary likes to look at that.
what makes them?
You like to look at this one.
I do. But I didn't see anything too goofy for this one.
And the fire extinguisher, was that for having them checked or having them
Yes,
filled?
they were just the annual maintenance
The
on them.
annual maintenance.
So it is both actually,
It's
so
both?
it's
Okay.
checked to make sure that they're, got the right pressure. And then depending on if something doesn't look right or if it isn't passing the inspection, then they usually do what's needed to
Okay.
get it in order, which usually is, extinguishers are usually pretty good.
Okay, cool. So, oh, the grant writer is is on here too, so that, we did submit that. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
I saw for wiring for buggy paid by insurance. Is that to be applied or had been applied in the insurance pay on
I think we had to pay for that, didn't we? Because we bought the replacement vehicle, and then Cooper did some wiring.
He did, there,
I thought we submitted that.
yeah, I think it's submitted, I don't know if the insurance has
Okay.
paid that back to us yet, but they were covering almost everything that Cooper was doing,
that? Okay, so
so.
we'll see that applied in the
I
future.
think,
We're hoping.
yeah, I
Okay.
think
Cooper did a lot of work
he
on that
did a lot of
vehicle.
work on
Okay.
We are lucky to have Cooper. And what's Fire Management Council?
that. That's probably me,
Oh,
I think that's what McMahon, that's what it's called.
oh, okay. Oh, I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it looks like there's 3 payments for.
Well,
under the
she was
nickname.
trying to pay it with an ACH, and she couldn't get that done. So she ended up accumulating 3 months and had to pay it with a check. So I
Yep,
think
and
we
then-
told her to give it to you
Yep, and
to pay it.
it's
Because
there, yeah.
I was getting emails, need it this, need it that.
We're trying, yeah.
Well, that was it, we're trying.
We're trying to get it there. Yeah.
Just told them you were busy too.
Well, I don't cut these checks, but it's still a learning curve with the accounting software. So do you have any questions here?
No, I didn't see anything.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Make a motion to do that.
Okay, Gary.
I'll second.
Oh, thanks, Mark. You were a little slow there, Tom.
No.
If there's no more discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, and updates from Chief Hollins.
Okay, we had a pretty busy December. First of all, I'll start off by, you guys remember last month, we talked about a chief engineer position within the department. We posted that listing for that position. We had 2 candidates sign up for it. Yesterday, we did interview those 2 and gave them the paperwork and the expectations of that position. They have until February 7th to get us the paperwork back before we give them a month. Because there was some pretty good stuff on there that they had to come up with.
Yeah, there's like 7 items that we all put together, so some of the expectations are, putting a plan together on how to, train members, current members that are drivers, members that want to be drivers. There was preventative maintenance stuff on there, being able to put together, some type of inventory check sheet, so there was like 7 items, so we gave them a month to put all that together, and then when they come back on the 7th, then they'll present it to us, and then we'll kind of see which candidate has the best presentation and documentation that moving forward.
The internal,
It both internal,
Yep.
yes,
Yeah.
yep,
One of the things on here is EVOC training, which we have to have for our 2% dues and stuff.
the driving.
And the driving, it's a driving course, which we set up yesterday up at the town garage. So we'll keep that always set up there so we can train whenever we want on this EVOC training course.
can I see if I can hit all those quotas when I go?
Sure. Yeah. Next thing was Logan Moyle. He was one of our firefighters. He has resigned He just didn't have the time in his life right now to continue on the fire service. A great kid, we'd love to have him back at any time, and we told him that too, he's more than welcome anytime to come back. Also, with that being said, Tori Stibb is one of our firefighters here that we have been bringing up. He has completed his Fire 1 certification, so he is on board now to start fighting fires. Between him and Cooper, them two are hooked up pretty good and they're working together well. So, also, we did a Keep the Wreath Green campaign through the holiday season. Some of you might have saw it up on City Hall, but if we get a fire related throughout the holiday season, the bulb changes to red. I can say we did not have a single fire that was related, so the wreath stayed green. Also within the month of December, we had Shop with Emergency personnel. We were down at Royal Ridges, or not Royal Ridges, the bowling alley. We bowled with the kids, a few frames, and we had some pizza and stuff like that. We also had the holiday parade, which was on Friday night. We participated with a couple rigs. I think we took three. Three of our rigs were decorated, and we took those up through the holiday parade as well. And then that was Friday night. Saturday night was the annual Dickens parade, or holiday fest up there.
Did you do those warming barrels again?
Yep, we did the barrels. And we also helped out with securing that area off up there. We had some of our rigs parked across the roads and stuff, so, you know, we tried to secure that off, keep it safer up there.
Did you have to decorate them, or did you have some public service?
Nope, we decorated them. Yep, we split up in our battalions.
Yeah.
We had, I think, we took two and two, got together, and we just went and decorated them. And then we had, the wrestling team was on one of them too, or something up there. So something.
Yeah, I was just wondering if they helped decorate it or.
Nope, we did it ourselves. We do it in-house here with everybody here, so. Also, yesterday, we did some interviews. And one of them was interview for a firefighter. The other four were for the
Fire prevention officer.
fire prevention specialist officer. So I'm looking for a motion, or not a motion, but to
You'd
hire
like-
this
yeah, you wanna hire
candidate.
him.
He used to be on our department a few years back, and he kind of left for some reasons. He'd like to come back now, and he'd be great to have in the department again. He comes with lots of certifications. So I'd like to move forward with hiring him. We can put it on the agenda for an action item next month to bring him on board.
He's really good. He's really terrific.
He's a detective in Green Lake County, and he lives here in Ripon, so.
Another question, no, we just took Moyle back, but we don't have to approve that. This guy, why do we have to approve him?
Because it's a hire.
Logan Moyle retired. He didn't come back. This Jeremiah Hansen is the guy we want to rehire, basically, or bring him back on.
We just approved the hires. That's their
This
recommendation.
is just like if I had my certification, I'd have to do the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have to go in front of, we have to present it in front of the board to get your guys' blessing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I told them last night, we're not gonna say, oh, no, you can't hire that
So we
person.
have so many, we're just gonna. try.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The nice thing is he already has firefighter one and has some other experience
So you
here.
have firefighter too.
he's drone,
He had
Yeah,
one.
he's a
drone as well,
drone guy.
drone pilot.
Yeah.
So
He
he'd,
can do it all.
yeah, he'd be,
Very helpful.
Yeah,
So he's coming on as a firefighter.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, correct.
yep, we'll have to bring him up to speed and get him, you know, gear and
Working with
stuff.
you guys.
Yep.
Dust run.
Yeah, Cooper and Tori Stibb can do that. Bring them up. And also, I briefed a little bit about the four that we interviewed for that position. We kind of looked over them. Afterwards, we sat down and went through all four of them with a fine tooth comb. We still have not really come to a conclusion on which one we want to hire yet. So at this time, I think we want to put that on the February meeting, that we look at approving.
You wanna bring him back for a second interview, or we gotta check, references and stuff?
Yep, references were, yep, you have to get references, we were told that last night, so.
Yeah,
Other than that, that's all I have for our chief's report. Any questions on that part? Monthly service calls, which I think you guys all should have there. Wasn't too busy, but we did have a few. Total month, for the month were 20.
and you still had, calls from last year, right? Up 29 from last year?
I think that's what, yeah, was on there. Yeah. On the last minutes or something it was. 46 from last year.
But it seems that, because you didn't have any fires to have red lights on the refit, you're doing a really good job with fire prevention.
Yeah, I have to agree.
The Christmas trees are green.
Yeah, artificial trees
Yeah.
that burn.
You know, Gary's not selling them anymore.
Were the two mutual aid calls to Fond du Lac, they called for extra aid?
Yeah. We got called off before we got out of
I
the
just-
city.
You didn't use your points there.
No, I'm sure I didn't. But I made you laugh.
What was the outside fires in town, Rich?
I think that was out on Reed Street. It was a farmer burning a huge brush pile out behind.
Did it get away from them?
No, no. Somebody
Just.
drove by and saw smoke and they
investigate,
called.
gotcha.
And they called it in, so.
Most people call it in like they're supposed to?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people call me and
Miles.
what to do.
I always call it 28, whatever, and then I get fun like this dispatch.
That's the way, you're right, that's the way it's supposed to be called.
2888.
Yep.
Fire inspection report. Currently, we have not started yet.
Thursday.
Starting
Starting on
Thursday?
Thursday.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's all I have for now.
Thursday's the 9th, right?
Yes, I believe so.
All right.
Yep.
All right, update from me is, work with Heather just to tie up a lot of the end of year things, budget stuff. We had, ordered some gear that we were just waiting to see how the budget was gonna land. So it's been a long time since, flash hoods were ordered and some gloves as we have new people coming on and, so some of the minor, turnout gear stuff was ordered. We worked on, Cooper, has been down here quite a bit. He is in the process of organizing and getting inventory, for pagers, radios, so that, again, down the road in the future, that those types of things can be budgeted for, because right now, you know, it's nice to keep track of the age of equipment so that you can look ahead and say, hey, you know, 2 years from now, this thing is gonna be, you know, 15 years old or whatever. So Coop's been doing a great job, inventory turnout gear, like I said, getting inventory of our tools on the apparatus, so that is a project. Just those 4 things in itself is a project. So he's been working on that, kind of developing what that looks like. And so that, my goal is that some of those things too, like inventory of equipment, so that when new hires start, they can get SOGs, SOPs. This is, engine 16 has this gear, equipment on it, and it's all comes in a book for them, you know, so some sort of guidebook. So, plus again, it helps with the budgeting. The other thing that we did is that, and I think I talked about it in November, is that during our officer meeting, we had our officer meeting, but then we did I call it a planning camp, where the officers got together and they decided what priorities we should give here in 2025. So, some of the things we talked about 7 items in 2 different meetings. The top 7 that we came up with were training with EMS. And that's not so much to know how to do EMS, it was more of like, hey, we go on, if you look at the call sheet, right, you see a lot of lift assist EMS stuff. Let's learn, let's bring EMS down here, let's go through the ambulance, let's see how the cot works, let's see how, so that if you're helping them lift or using the stair chair or whatever, we're all familiar with, because equipment is you don't just pull out the cot and flip a button now, it's all automated, and so, things like that. So that was one of the items. Trying to work and utilize the training tower. Again, not to burn in, because we're not burning in it, but it's still usable for raising ladders, doing search and rescue, advancing hose lines, those types of things. So the goal is to get that cleaned up, button it up so there's not holes and doors and windows open, and to use that, again, as a training tool. It's an awesome training tool. Not all departments can say they have a training tower, so,
Kevin,
yes,
I have a quick question.
yeah.
Why aren't we burning in the training tower? It used
It's
to-
not built to train, or to burn in.
It's not structurally fit.
What,
Look-
can we ever do that in there?
No, that is, so what, in a burn tower, if it's meant to burn, a burn tower, even in the burn tower, if you see a department that has a 3-story, 2-story burn tower, it doesn't mean you can burn anywhere in that tower. Typically, there's burn rooms within the tower, and those burn rooms have, almost like, they're burn pads in there, so they're attached to the walls so that you can't burn through them or whatever. And even those have to be replaced every certain amount of years. That has none, those are literally just storage containers, that's it.
Yeah, I know, that's what they are.
With plywood, and so there's burn holes through, luckily somebody didn't get hurt in there, really. And so, there is a no burn in that tower, everybody's well aware of that, but we can still use it for non-burning training, and again, the burning part of it is great, because, you don't see fire every day, but, a lot of it is firefighters trying to feel their way through without being able to see, that's kind of the main thing, and so, there's different ways to do that.
You can blindfold.
Blindfold,
Yeah.
you can use our fake smoke machine that we have.
Yeah.
There's lots of different ways other than burning, and,
Okay.
so that's why, it's just not meant to, great tool, not meant to burn in, so. I talked a little bit about truck inventory, so we're gonna do inventory sheets and how apparatus gets checked off. We're gonna work on preventative maintenance, which I think we've come a long way this year in preventative maintenance. And so, things you don't think about, you let tires on the apparatus go for several years, and then all of a sudden when you got 10 pieces of apparatus out there and they all need new tires, that's not good. So, we need to have some kind of preventative maintenance schedule, plan. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a huge yearly calendar now hanging on the wall as you come into this room here. And part of the officer plan meeting that we have is like, we're gonna figure out and pre-plan when these things are occurring, so hose testing, physicals, this is when we're gonna do ladder tests, this is when we're gonna do the aerial test. And so it's all mapped out so that the chief engineer, who's ever doing the planning, can look ahead and know that this is the time that it's gonna happen. Our fit testing, our flow testing of our SCBA, so. That's gonna be, again, narrowed down even more, better than it was. Looking at certifications of our firefighters, if we can start getting them to, take, the next level classes. So if you're firefighter 1, let's see if we can encourage them or get a class here for firefighter 2 or driver operator or fire officer, or instructor, so. Some of those things, we try to encourage, maybe get a class here. Our Mavis cards, that's our mutual aid box alarm system. We have cards pre-made for certain types of incidents, and then we already know who's coming based on the level of incident. We need to get together as officers and go through them to make sure they're current. They're electronic now, so when we update them, it's supposed to get shipped out to the departments that we're working with without having to meet with them and go over, they approve it. So that was one, and then our SCBA's. We talked about being able to, like right now, if they're used in a fire or an incident, we have no idea, right? There's no documentation. When firefighters come back and those things are used, they're supposed to check them out before they get put back on the truck. They check for damage, they make sure the air is, filled back in and put back on the truck. And so we wanna be able to have a check sheet for each of our SCBA's, the age, and have that checked off to make sure.
Can you tell us what SCBA is? So
Yeah.
people listening could
Yep.
know.
SCBA.
Yep, so SCBA is self-contained breathing apparatus.
Ah, SCBA.
Yep, self-contained breathing apparatus, or airbags. So that was the other goal. And what I plan to do is use this as part of the strategic plan, right? The district spent a lot of money putting a strategic plan together. I don't wanna see it go by the wayside, right? So even though there's items in the strategic plan that are not complete yet, some things are. So then you still carry that over till the next year. But that's, as I've been telling the officers, that's our guidebook to continue to operate the fire department. And so, things were done in '24, but now we need to add on to what's gonna be done next year and the year after. I'm gonna add these into, the strategic plan, and then we'll have keep it updated, so that we don't have to do a study, 10 years from now. So I will put those in, and then again, continue to review those recommendations from, 2024. So again, I looked through them, probably, half of them have been completed, but there's some high-end projects and topics in there that, we gotta get back to the basics first. They're still there, it doesn't mean they're gone away. You just fill those in and fit them in when you can get to them, and prioritize them, so that's what we've been working on, here in December. And the one thing I will say is that, there was a lot of times during the last two officers meeting where I just sat back and watched the officers have a discussion. And you have no idea how nice that is to see that there's constructive discussion going on, like in-depth discussion and decisions made, not just by one person or two people. It was by by committee, basically, hey, yeah, this is a good idea, let's move forward with this. So those 7 topics were agreed by all the officers, not just the chief officer. So it was really nice to see those deep discussions, because that's how you build trust, and that's how you build camaraderie, and that's how you move forward, right? And we know you don't always get your way, somebody might want to do something else, but this was by committee, and it was really cool to see that. So hopefully that can continue, and that's why, we got back to those officer classes. And the chief officers meet prior, and then have the rest of the officers come in, and it's been working out really good, so, thank you.
Okay, any questions? All right, we will move on to old business, PPA update, PAA update. I did talk to Adam today briefly, and I don't believe there'll be any presentation in January, that there's some work that needs to continue to be done. Did they ever meet with Nepiescum?
By phone.
By phone, and they met with you all in person, right?
Yes.
And it went okay?
We met.
Okay, all right. And how did your phone meeting go?
It was okay.
Okay, all right, well, I guess we'll see what's going on in the next, not this month, but maybe next month. So, I'm going to apologize. I was going to update the policies and procedures and have them for you, but I spent a part of the weekend in the emergency room at the hospital with my mother, so I did not get it done. So I put it on the agenda for February. In my head, I know what it is, but I have to write it. So, the FEMA grant was submitted. It was, what I remember, it's $165,000, and then there's some change, but I didn't remember what the hundreds were. And then we had to, annually, you have to re-register with
Yeah.
SAMS, which took Heather and I a couple days, because it's the government. And you go into that website, you don't know what's going on, so then Adam was nice enough to take screenshots of where we had to go, but we got it done today. So we're good to go for another year. And it's really, once you figure out what screen you have to be on, it's not hard to do. But somebody was gonna have us, they wanted us to pay them $600 to do that for us. Yeah, that's what they were charging. And Chief Pollitt's already talked about the fire prevention search. Does anybody have questions on any of that? Yes, sir?
This FEMA grant, that's the one we utilized the grant writer
Yes.
to help us fill it
Yes.
out because of the federal requirements and making sure that we had
Yes.
everything that we needed.
Yes, and that was submitted in December. Yes, sir?
Just go ahead and finish.
It was submitted in December for, what, 30-some radios? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's at least
Something
30.
like that.
It's at least 32 or something like that. And remember, if we get the grant, which is why we had to renew ourselves, because if you're not renewed, you're not eligible for it. We would, if we're awarded, we get $1,500 back on the grant writer fee.
I'm sorry, that's exactly what I was gonna mention, what you just said about the kickback part of the fee
Yeah.
for the grant writer.
That, and that 165,000 is that 1,500. Any other questions?
There you go. I hope we get it.
Oh, well, we did our nice sob story. I did the narration, so it's talking about how our radio, we're cannibalizing, I like the word cannibalizing.
That's a great
So
word.
I was like, and Cooper is cannibalizing.
Yeah, if you see some of the radios, you can, I mean, the wires from the
Yeah.
antenna are hanging, so, yeah, it's not
Buttons are missing.
Yep.
buttons, yeah.
Yeah, it's not pretty, and
No.
what the grant writer told us is because our radios are older than 10 years, that bumps us up on the list right away.
Definitely.
And I think when I write for the turnout gear, because some of our turnout gear is 20 years old, that'll help
Same
us
thing.
too, yeah. And I'll take some of that narrative that I did for the radio grant, and use that for the turnout gear.
It also helps when you show that you're working like as a district, right? You're not just one community looking for it, you're three, basically.
Yeah.
So that also helps because there's a cooperative.
Well, and it expands our geographic footprint as well as our population. So, and when you write this, I worked with Craig T-Bot, who does geofencing, and we get 700,000 visitors to the area over the year. That's a lot. You know, we don't think about it because our population base isn't that big. But between all the events in Ripon College, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we have people from Green Lake coming in that are staying there, that come over here for stuff,
Yep.
to visit us, and so, yeah, it's. I think-
Friday night concerts draw from all over,
Oh, yeah, people from Fond du Lac come too.
so keep your fingers crossed.
Yep.
Start another broad,
Start another brat hut?
yeah, like we used to. All the kids came from all over.
They did.
Friday night.
That's a little before my time, but my husband used to do that.
You're making me hungry.
We didn't serve many broads.
Oh, they did, okay.
No.
Didn't somebody try to climb a light pole?
Yeah, you got lucky.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
He was a little crazy.
Survival of the fittest, perhaps. So moving on to new business. One of the things, I wanted to be clear about the costs associated with the past 2 years. It's not only to bring the district into state compliance, but I wanted to talk about the credit card thing versus operational costs. The credit card thing is done. It's done. It didn't cost us a lot of money because I did most of the legwork until I found out that we can't subpoena, and we couldn't get the credit card information, so that's when it was turned over to law enforcement. When we were talking about doing the forensic audit, that was for the operational costs. And we never did a full forensic audit, we did that deep dive audit that cost us more with CLA. And that was to bring the district into state compliance, and you just went over
A bunch
a
of
lot
those
of that,
items.
a lot
Yeah.
of those items. Like the fire extinguishers and the trucks being DOT certified.
Yep, so which they get sent to Rennerts and looked over, pump tests, ladder, the ground ladder testing, then there's the aerial ladder testing. There's the flow and fit testing of our SCBA's and the bottles. Even the cascade system that's out there with the generator, the compressor that was purchased. There's so many little things that you don't think about that's why, you know, when Koopa's working on this, there's gonna be a list. And then he's gonna say, hey, every year at this time, this item needs to be tested, and it'll be on the calendar, and so those will not be forgotten about. And like I said, even, you know, you forget or not forget, but if you start to, not doing the repair, like replacing tires, and, I mean, all of a sudden, on the board there, we had 4 trucks that needed, you know, sometimes 2, 3 tires, and, you know, that, you can't budget for that in 1 year. And so, or 8, whatever it was like every week it was some, you know, tire or battery.
Batteries, yeah.
Whatever, so I think having this chief engineer position, who's gonna be in charge of preventative maintenance, I think is gonna save, you know, some monies down the road, you know, to keep up on that. You know, we're not funneling money into trying to do this or that, it's like, no, these are for firefighter safety, and that's it. I mean, there is nothing more important than that, and so you have to do those, you know, those types of testing and making sure they're taken
Yeah,
care of.
and I wanna add one thing, and then, so from an administrative level, when we did the insurance, everything is insured now. And there were things that were not insured before, now, like the garage is now insured. And all the firefighters now have life insurance. Cause that was gone for a few years, but we made sure that all those insurance policies are paid and up to date. Mark?
Yeah, I just wanted to, ask a question about the documentation requirements for our maintenance.
Yeah.
For state dues, do we just have a book that we can show them and a record, or are there
Yes,
forms?
they
that
just
they
ask
fill
for the
out?
records, yep.
So we just have that.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, Doug?
So yeah, Mark, you weren't here for this, but one of the things that they wanted was all this record keeping stuff that should have been done. So, we were using, what was it called? It's ESO now, but
It used to be Firehouse.
Firehouse is a software package. And of course, when we're in the middle of doing this, ESO bought out Firehouse and said, we're not doing that anymore. We're not gonna give you any kind of migration tool to move your data over. So all that had to be done in hand. So we voted to add some modules to it that had to do with the testing and keeping track of what we've done for education and training and stuff, so that when they come back and look at us again, and I kinda hope they do, knock on wood, because we'll be ready for
Well,
them.
they did
They
come
did,
back,
and
they
we
did come
passed.
back.
Yep,
Oh, yeah, they did, they come back and look at it
They
again.
came back in 2024. I mean,
Right.
yes.
Right, well,
Correct.
yeah, yeah. Because
Right.
we had problems in 2023,
Yep,
and then they came back in 2024, because we were on probation.
yep.
Right,
March.
and so we had all that because, so, there were things I didn't even know we had to do. But now we do, like, if there's a dryer fire, make and model. It gets entered into the database, they wanna know. So what if there's 100 dryer fires with that make and model? I think the Fed's gonna wanna know about it, so the bureaucracy can say, recall. There's a danger there. I mean, I think I would wanna know if I had that dryer in my basement or my laundry room, that there could be a problem with it. So, maybe there are flukes, but you need to know there was one so they can look at it. So, if there was a fridge that starts catching on fire, we'd all wanna know that, and that's how we know.
Did you have something else?
I was just gonna note also for those safety things, it's, especially like radios, you know, and equipment is budgeting for that proactively and knowing, so it's not all of a sudden, oh, there's
Yeah.
$250,000 worth of equipment that's, you
Yeah.
know, beyond
Yeah,
its useful
that's why,
life.
that's why you need to have at least a 5-year capital improvement plan, so that you know, you can see, and it can be a chessboard, you can move things around, you're not locked into it,
Yep,
but it's helpful to know what's coming around the corner.
yep. And then insurance gets to see what our capital assets are, and we know that we're covered for anything in that regard as well, and we know when we're moving, and, yep.
So I wanted the public to understand, we're done with that other thing. We are doing our operational stuff, and we're moving forward. Any questions? Pierce Manufacturing, have they told us what we owe? Because they
No.
told us we had to make a payment in January. but they
Yeah, so I
haven't.
have, Coop is gonna be contacting Leslie, who's our rep from Pierce. And so once we find out what that looks like or when, they should have some kind of another, it hasn't been, the truck hasn't been started yet, and so there should be like another meeting prior to it getting started.
Oh, okay.
I believe, so, but, we'll get a hold of Leslie and see what that looks like here shortly.
Okay, so I'll put that on for a future
Yes.
agenda item too.
Yeah.
And then our final action item is a donation from Annette Klein in the amount of $200. So I would entertain a motion to accept that donation.
Question first. or
Yes,
do you
sir.
wanna wait? She marked it for anything, or?
Well, no, I
It was
don't
for,
think
so it was from
because-
Community Gardens, and there's no restrictions on it as to what it can be used for.
So what does the fire department use it for, the combi tools again, or do we have enough?
We never have enough.
I didn't know how many combi tools.
No,
How much was it for?
200.
200.
Oh,
You can, if you wanna make a motion to accept the 200 and apply it to the combi, which I can never say tool, that's fine.
I make a motion that we accept the $200 and apply it to the combi tool.
Second,
Thank you, Tom. Is there any discussion?
Thank you for the donation.
Yeah,
Always appreciate
she'll
it.
get a thank you.
I just wanna say, that was extremely generous of Annette.
She did it last year too.
She's done it several times, and I know she's not the most wealthy person in town, but for her to just give us $200 because, without restriction, is extremely generous of her.
Mhm. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, it passes. So what I have for the next meeting is approve the firefighter hire, or hirers, if you come forward with the
Public safety
the
officer.
public safety officer. And then I will get the policies and procedures done hopefully yet this week, and then we'll have them on file for us to review in February. I believe the firehouse grant application, she'll be bringing that forward to apply, and you already know what you want for that, to go with that tank thing.
yeah, compressor tank.
Yeah, and then I'll put Pierce Manufacturing back on to see if we know what our payment is gonna be. Is there anything else?
I just have a question. You're gonna be gone February and when?
Yeah,
Do you wanna be here when you, for the first thing we're talking about?
The hiring.
No,
policies and procedures.
Right, you
I'll be,
want to-
I'll be like either on a Zoom, I'll Zoom in, or I'll be on the
I
phone.
just wondered if you were gonna wanna be here to explain it.
Yeah, I'll call into these meetings at 5 o'clock there when you have your meeting, so. you just get the
Prime
bird-
dinner time.
Just get the bird to be quiet. That's all. Prison has a bird. Oh, good one. You got me back, you did, quid pro quo. All right, if there is nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Seconded.
well, you guys are quite the team today. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned until February